2018 has been, it's been quite a year for me. I learned what it's like to finally live on my own, and I learned that life happens when it wants to, not when it's most convenient for you. Having a safety net is so important, and that's really, it's not something I really ever understood until 2018. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about a financial safety net. Having people that you can come to and people that you can go to talk to when you need someone to talk to, or just having things in place so that when you need them, they're there. My old history teacher used to say that proper preparation prevents poor pedagogical performance. Now, he was a pedagogue. But you can apply that Larkinism to anything. Just prepare and you'll be fine. Another thing I've learned, uncertainty isn't necessarily a bad thing. When I moved out of my parents' house at the end of December last year, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. The thing that got me to move forward was actually that fact, the fact that I had no clue what I was doing. So I figured that rather than sitting where I was, paralyzed by the fear of the rest of my life looming in front of me, that I would just dive headfirst into the rest of my life. Season 0 of the show has really been about me finding myself through Premiere Pro, finding out what kind of videos I like to make, the kind of videos I don't like to make, and kind of the whole ordeal behind that. I really never thought that I was going to end up wanting to make video game content on YouTube. I mean, I made a video called Why I Don't Make Video Game Content, and now I upload 1, sometimes 2 Destiny 2 videos a week. I really have fallen in love with Destiny 2 since Forsaken has come out. The game's just so much fun, and I love making videos about that. I hope you guys enjoy watching them. My life used to be a bunch of pieces that occasionally bumped into each other, but now it seems like everything's falling in its place. Instead of making jokes over here, YouTube videos over here, video games down here, trying to help people out over here, everything is kind of coming together. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'll push that thought process over into 2019. Hey, so, I realized that I didn't really shoot anything to put between that and what's coming next, and it felt weird having a hard cut between the two things. So, hello? Hey, you're making that 2018 retrospective video, right? Yeah, I'm working on that right now. Why do you ask? I just wanted to make sure that you talked about personal growth and having honest conversations with yourself. I know that that was something that was really important to you this year. Hey, thanks. I'm actually going to go do that right now. I'll call you back later. But whatever. Okay. I always knew that I had things in my personal life that I needed to work on, but I never wanted to actually take the time to do it. Living in blissful ignorance had worked so well up until 2018, so why would I change now? I mean, the short answer is because I had to. Being lazy and just pissing away all my money, I mean, as obvious as it sounds now, was not going to last forever. You can't sustain on a model that is essentially boiled down to consuming. If all you do is consume, then you can't grow. I needed to learn to have healthier interactions with people, and I needed to learn to find the value in life from me, not necessarily from the people that I'm with. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, the only person that's here for me is me. So I need to make sure that on my own, that I'm okay, that I can sustain on my own. And that's not saying that having people there to help you out is necessarily a bad thing. I just think that it's good to be able to sustain on your own. I couldn't possibly talk about 2018 without talking about my year in video games. This year I learned a lot about the type of games that I like to play. I've really taken to heart the fact that video games are a hobby for me, and playing certain video games is also a hobby. I think that Destiny 2 is the perfect example of the type of game that I love to play habitually. In Destiny, I'm essentially just playing the same missions over and over again and going to the same areas over and over again, collecting the same materials over and over again. And I know that to probably most of you watching this video, that sounds incredibly boring. That doesn't sound like the type of game that you would. So with the repetitive nature of Destiny, there are two things that really set it aside for me that make it really enjoyable. The first thing is the gunplay. Destiny and Destiny 2 are some of the most solid FPS games that I have ever played in my life. I play the game a lot, and I have a fair amount of complaints about the game, but none of them are about the gameplay itself. I might have a problem with the way that loot is distributed, or I might have a problem with the way that certain activities are structured, but I never have a problem with the gunplay, because it just works. The second thing is the loot. Now, games like Destiny 2 will live or die based on their loot. With changes made to the game and Forsaken that dropped back in September, the loot in Destiny 2 is finally fun. High tier items are not dished out too fast, so they still feel valuable. And I don't get fucked by RNG too often, so the grind feels pretty constant. In a year where we got games like God of War, Monster Hunter World, Red Dead 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, Dead Cells, and so many more, how can you complain? 2018 was a fantastic year for games. Have I mentioned that I'm excited for The Division 2?